this week's video. My name's Lynda Gaiao. Today we move into trait 28, which is the game player. And here the challenge is life itself. There is this attunement intuitively in the moment to knowing what in life has value or meaning. And so it's almost this real dichotomy between life and death. When we tune into the intuitive knowing in the now, it's this understanding of what risks can I take playing, with death, on the verges of death, to really bring struggles into my life which bring value and purpose and meaning. So it's knowing what risks to take and what struggles are worthwhile. So what we have here, because there's this intuitive or this splenic awareness, this survival intelligence, you really can tune into which risks to take and which ones not to take. And so in comparison to someone else who may not have this particular trait in their design, you can essentially take risks that they wouldn't take. And the whole driving force behind this is you want to go through life knowing that the struggles that you've been for have been worth it, that you have fought for the right things, you've struggled through things that really bring purpose and value and meaning to your life. And without that, you're going to have this fear. And the fear, because we have an awareness function here, so the fear is a fear of death. But more specifically, it's the fear of dying, having not lived a life full of purpose and meaning. And so one can see from a shadow perspective or a not self perspective, if one is driven purely by this fear of death or this fear of not living a life of purpose, and you don't tune into a decision-making strategy, that potentially you could take fatal risks that actually end up in you not surviving, rather than tuning into, is this risk correct for me? Is this risk healthy for me? And because it's linked to the survival intelligence, you really can know the answer to that question. And so from the outside looking in, people may potentially see you as a risk taker because of this attunement to that survival intelligence, which they do not potentially have the access to. Because we're dealing with background frequencies, just a reminder that everyone has access to this energy this week. And so this fear may show up for you, or this, if you are not in a place of awareness, potentially you can step into the shadow aspect of this as well. But it's a great time for you really to assess, what struggles are you in currently that actually have meaning and purpose for you, and which ones don't. The trait on the other side of the 28 is the 38, the fighter. And without access to this energy or not having it in your design, there is this potential here that you will just fight for anything and everything, not being selective. And that can really drain you. It could stress you out or really push you into just fighting for everything and anything. And it's really this combination of fighting for things that are correct and going through the struggles that are correct for you, taking the risks that are correct for you to really spark this aliveness, this purposefulness, and this sense of value and meaning in going through life. A lot to do with design has to do with our survival and our thriving on this material plane, on this mundane plane. And if we are so entrenched in just trying to survive on the mundane plane, there is this potential here that you actually don't have the time to contemplate whether something has purpose or has meaning. And so when you're connecting into living correctly as yourself, and you do get to be in this place where you are actually surviving on this material plane, you have food to eat and you've got a place to live, there's more time then to contemplate or to investigate what has purpose and what has meaning in life. And so if you're finding that right now you're just in that struggle in life and you just are just barely making it, I'd really encourage you to explore the basics, the fundamentals of your design, and start attuning to that first, because that's going to align you to your design and bring you exactly what you need in this lifetime to survive. And then with this trait 38 around, you can then have that contemplation of what is purposeful, what is really meaningful in life for me. Trait 38 is in the individual circuitry, and anything that is individual in design carries with it this melancholy. And so when you drop into the melancholy, you may feel like you just absolutely have no energy for any struggle, and you flop into bed just like, I don't have energy to struggle. But the thing with melancholy is that it moves through us, and it does give us access to our muse, to our creative potential, to that spark within us. And when we rise out of the melancholy, we may all of a sudden have these inspirations and ideas about exactly which struggle we do have energy for, and then we can focus on bringing all of our energy to that struggle, and then feeling that sense of value and meaning and purpose through the struggle. Another thing that comes with this individuality in the 28 is a certain level of stubbornness. Stubbornly being attuned to or listening to that instinctive survival intelligence, so that you know what risks to take and what not to take. And there's a deftness that comes with individuality, because we're not here to be influenced by others. We're not here to follow the pack. We are essentially here to know for ourselves in the moment what a struggle to fight for, what risk, you're being so attuned to, like on an acoustic level, what is for me, what struggle do I enter into, and which ones do I not enter into. So having stubbornness and deftness is actually part of the design with the 28, and it's not something to fix, it's just something to embrace. When we're looking at the 28 in terms of a business context, this particular trait is an excellent trait for a leader of a team or a business to have. Why? Because they know what risks to take. They are so tuned into, these are the risks that we need to take. These are the struggles that we need to go through, and that's going to lead to success as a team. Part of having purpose in this life is about being effective, having effective process, having effective strategies in place. And so one of the questions that you can ask is, in our team or in our business, are we effective? Are we doing things effectively that are going to lead to that success in the end? Or are we just entering into struggle after struggle, but there is no purpose and no effectiveness coming out of those struggles? The 28 is going to bring some courage as well, courage to take the risks. It's also going to help you to know what risks to take and what things to fight for, and what to just absolutely let go of and move on to something else. So what I'd encourage you to pay attention to this week as you're moving through the 28 is noticing what struggles are surfacing in your life. Are they worth fighting for, or is it time to let them go? This week is a great week to really do an assessment of what is purposeful and what has value and meaning in your life. And you may find that there's a couple of things that you've said yes to in the past incorrectly that don't bring any value, purpose, or meaning for you. And this week would be a great time to reflect on those and to let go anything that it no longer has value for you, or maybe it never had value, but you just felt obligated or conditioned into doing it. So now would be a great week to let go of that. If there are some things that you're feeling like you haven't had the courage to do, this week will bring you some courage and maybe some excitement about risks to take. But with everything in design, I'd really encourage you not to be moved into action by this, but to tune into your decision-making strategy to know for sure which risks and which things to fight for, which risks to take and what to fight for, what struggles to enter into and which ones to let go. It's a great week to feel this kind of alive, vital energy of struggle, of taking risks and finding purpose and meaning. And I hope that for you it brings some great revelations as you ponder it and tune into it. Each week when the background frequency changes, I do release a new video. So if you want to stay informed and updated of when that happens, you can click the subscribe button and you will get a notification. And until next week, I hope you have an awesome and successful time. Bye for now.